A long time ago, in the heart of a village called Umudike, where palm trees swayed in the gentle breeze and the sound of children's laughter echoed through the air, there lived a young woman named Neka. She was well loved, for she was kind-hearted and always willing to help those in need. After years of childlessness, Neka and her husband, Obina, were finally blessed with a baby girl, Ifunanya. The joy in their home knew no bounds. Women from the village came to rejoice with them, bringing gifts of yam, palm oil, and even white cloth for the baby. But among the well-wishers liked a woman whose presence carried a dark secret, Mama Ojugo, a childless widow with a reputation for misfortune. Mama Ojugo had long been suspected of dabbling in dark charms. It was whispered that any baby she carried either fell mysteriously ill or, in the worst cases, died within days. No one had proof, but the villagers had seen too many tragedies tied to her visits. The sun hung lazily in the sky as the villagers gathered in Neka and Obina's compound for the naming ceremony. The air was filled with the aroma of steaming jollof rice and freshly tapped palm wine. Drummers pounded their talking drums, women all related in joy, and the village elders sat under the shade of a large Eudora tree, nodding approvingly as the celebration unfolded. Wrapped in a soft white cloth, little Ifunanya lay peacefully in Neka's arms, unaware of the festivities surrounding her. Women took turns admiring the baby, blessing her with kind words and rubbing a little palm oil on her feet, as was the custom to ward off evil spirits. Then, from the corner of her eye, Neka spotted a familiar figure weaving through the crowd, Mama Ojugo. The childless widow had an unsettling presence, though she always smiled and spoke kindly. Neka's hands tightened around her baby instinctively as the woman approached, her eyes twinkling with something unreadable. "Neka, my daughter. Congratulations on your beautiful child," Mama Ojugo cooed, stepping closer. Her voice was like honey, but something about it made Neka's skin prickle. "Thank you, Mama Ojugo," Neka responded politely, forcing a small smile. "Oh, she is truly a blessing. See how chubby and healthy she looks. Oh, let me carry her for a moment. Let me feel her warmth in my arms." Mama Ojugo stretched out her hands, palms open, waiting. A heavy silence fell over the women standing nearby. Some glanced at each other uneasily, while others looked down, unwilling to interfere. Everyone had heard the whispers: babies who fell mysteriously ill, children who never woke up, mothers who regretted the day they handed their infants over to her. But no one had ever dared to confront her openly. Neka's heart pounded. She didn't want to be rude, but she couldn't ignore the stories. Just as she hesitated, her mother-in-law, Mama Ejima, stepped forward. "My daughter," Mama Ejima said in a firm but calm voice, "not every hand that carries a child brings peace. Some hands give, but others take. Be wise." Mama Ojugo's smile wavered for a brief moment before she let out a dry laugh. "Oh, Mama Ejima, are you saying I have evil hands? Am I not part of this community? Do I not deserve to share in this joy?" Her voice was coated with mock innocence, but her eyes gleamed with something sharp, something dark. Neka swallowed hard. The weight of the villagers' stares pressed down on her. Should she refuse? Should she go against tradition and risk offending an elder? Just then, Ifunanya stirred in her arms, letting out a soft whimper. It was as if the baby could sense something was wrong. Taking a deep breath, Neka finally spoke. "Mama Ojugo, my baby just fell asleep. She has had a long day. Please, let her rest." The moment the words left her lips, it was as if the entire compound exhaled in relief. A few women exchanged subtle nods. She had done the right thing. Mama Ojugo's expression tightened. For a fleeting second, her eyes darkened, and her lips pressed together in a thin line. But just as quickly, she threw her hands up in exaggerated surrender. "Oh, no problem, my dear. She is your child. May she grow strong," she said, forcing a laugh. Then, with a final glance at the baby, she turned and melted back into the crowd. But Nneka could not shake off the uneasy feeling curling in her stomach. Had she just avoided danger? Or had she unknowingly made an enemy? That night, as the villagers returned to their homes, the echoes of laughter and music from Ifunanya's naming ceremony slowly faded into the silence of the night. The moon hung high, casting silver light over the rooftops of Umidike, but inside Nneka's heart, the air was thick with unease. Though exhaustion weighed heavy on her body, Nneka could not sleep. The memory of Mama Ojugo's forced smile and darkened gaze lingered in her mind like an unfinished song. She tried to shake it off, convincing herself that she was overthinking, but her heart refused to settle. As she lay beside her husband, Obinna, with little Ifunanya nestled between them, a sudden chill swept through the room. The oil lamp flickered, casting eerie shadows on the mud walls. Nneka shuddered. Why did it feel like something unseen had entered their home? And then, it happened. Nneka fell into a deep, unnatural sleep, and in this sleep, she found herself in a strange realm, a place neither of the living nor the dead. The air smelled of burning incense, and a thick mist rolled over the ground. Before her stood an old, faceless figure cloaked in white, whispering words she could not understand. From the mist, Mama Ojugo emerged, her eyes glowing a sickly shade of yellow. She hovered over Ifunanya's crib, her fingers outstretched as she muttered dark incantations. The baby let out a silent scream, her tiny body stiff as if bound by an unseen force. Nneka tried to move, tried to scream, but her body was paralyzed. Her own voice had been stolen from her. Suddenly, the faceless figure spoke, its voice deep and filled with warning. Not all hands bring peace. Not all arms offer comfort. Beware, for the night carries whispers that steal breath from the innocent. At that moment, a powerful gust of wind howled through the air, slamming into Mama Ojugo. She shrieked and staggered backward as an invisible force pushed her away from the child. The mist swallowed her whole, and just like that, Nneka woke up gasping. She bolted upright, drenched in sweat, her heart hammering against her ribs. The room was deathly silent, save for the soft breathing of her husband. Her eyes darted to the crib. Ifunanya lay still, too still. Fear clawed at her throat. She lunged forward, shaking her baby gently. No movement. Chinyik, she cried, frantically placing a hand on Ifunanya's tiny chest. For a moment, it felt cold, too cold. But just as she was about to scream for help, the baby stirred and let out a soft cry. Relief crashed over her, leaving her shaking with terror and gratitude. She gathered Ifunanya in her arms, rocking her while whispering prayers. But deep in her heart, she knew the dream was not just a dream. It was a warning. A battle had been fought in the spirit realm, a battle she had nearly lost. Nneka's mind raced. Had Mama Ojugo truly tried to harm her child? Was the story about her cursed hands real? She could not say for certain, but one thing was clear, her mother-in-law's warning had saved Ifunanya's life. From that night on, Nneka made a vow. No stranger, no matter how kind, would ever carry her child again. Moral lessons. The story of Nneka, Ifunanya, and Mama Ojugo serves as a powerful warning that not everyone who smiles at you has good intentions, and not every extended hand is meant to bless. In many African cultures, children are considered precious gifts from the gods, and as such, they require spiritual protection from unseen forces. The tale teaches us several important life lessons that are still relevant today. Nneka's hesitation in handing Ifunanya over to Mama Ojugo saved her baby's life. This mirrors the real-life lesson that parents should be mindful of who they allow near their children. Not every relative, friend, or neighbor has good intentions. Some carry jealousy, envy, or even hidden malice disguised as love. In many African traditions, babies are seen as spiritually vulnerable. Some people, knowingly or unknowingly, carry negative energies that can affect a child's health, behavior, or even destiny. There are stories of infants mysteriously falling ill or dying shortly after being carried by certain individuals. This is why elders warn against allowing too many people to touch or carry a newborn. Mama Ojugo appeared harmless and kind, yet the villagers whispered about the mysterious misfortunes surrounding the babies she carried. This shows that evil does not always appear with horns and red eyes. Sometimes, it wears a warm smile and kind words. Just as a snake does not lose its venom because it is smiling, we must always be discerning of people's true intentions. Some people may pretend to celebrate with you, but in their hearts, they are filled with envy and bad intentions. Mama Ejima's warning, "Not every hand that carries a child brings peace," played a vital role in saving Ifunanya. The elderly often carry the wisdom of experience, and their words should not be ignored. In many cultures, older people understand the dangers of spiritual attacks, hidden jealousy, and bad energy. Their wisdom, passed down through generations, serves as a shield against unseen forces. Neka's dream was not just a dream, it was a spiritual battle. This emphasizes the belief in many African cultures that the spiritual world coexists with the physical world. Some misfortunes are not just natural occurrences but the result of spiritual interference. In the dream, Mama Ojugo was trying to steal Ifunanya's essence, but an unseen force protected the baby. This aligns with the belief that prayers, protection charms, and spiritual awareness can safeguard a person from hidden. From the moment Mama Ojugo approached, Neka felt uneasy. Her instinct warned her, but she almost ignored it out of fear of offending an elder. Many mothers have experienced moments where they feel uneasy about someone holding their child, even when there is no clear reason. The lesson here is, if your spirit warns you about something, listen to it, even if others call you paranoid. In many Nigerian communities, it is customary for women to take turns carrying a newborn at a naming ceremony. However, Neka broke tradition to protect her child, and this decision saved Ifunanya's life. Just because something has always been done does not mean it is always right. When a tradition puts your child or well-being at risk, you have the right to question it and choose safety over societal expectations. This folktale reinforces a timeless truth: evil does not always announce itself. Sometimes, it hides behind warm greetings, affectionate smiles, and familiar faces. Be cautious with your children. Trust your instincts. Listen to the wisdom of elders. Know that not every tradition must be followed. In many Nigerian and African cultures, it is believed that a baby's life is as fragile as a candle in the wind. It must be shielded from unnecessary exposure. Just as Neka learned the hard way, the lesson remains. Not every hand that reaches out to touch your child is a hand of love.